Well, hello, everybody.
Hello,
Hello.
lady.
My name is Marna, the last lady of sleaze. I'm sorry, last lady of song. And this is my first interview show with little Gary Todd.
Used to be the youngest person around. Now I'm starting to be the oldest person around.
That's all right. That's all right. If you get to be my age, you won't be the difference because you're bald anyway. So don't worry about
Well, that's my game plan to get to your age.
it. You will. You will. You got enough air in your lungs now, playing all those millions of horns.
It is horns, lots of horns.
Lots of horns. Gary's a really good friend of mine. I've known him since he's like 16, 17 years old when I was 3. And we're going to do a little interview. And for those that don't know who he is, you're going to find out now. I mean, now, or I know for this hour or however long we're going to be on. So, Gary, um, I know, where were you born?
I was born in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Well, I was just there for a blink of an eye, I think. Not really sure how long. A lot of my early history is not documented. So, you know,
I
it's
see.
the story is crazy, and we can get into it now or later. I don't know if you want to get
Well,
going
go
from the
ahead.
get-go.
Let's start from the
Well, my dad, the entertainer, adagio dancer from vaudeville, with his first wife, uh, Zhang. They were Zhang and Todd was the couple. They were traveling and having some marital problems. When they got to Seattle, she had left to go home, and he had these jobs booked on the West Coast. So he went into the local dancing school to look for a dance partner. Thus was my mother. And that's how the Seattle connection started. So he had ended up hiring my mom. At that point was my mom, yet I wasn't in existence, but then they started working together, and obviously my older brother Rick came. My oldest brother's a half brother, so she already have just got out of a marriage and had a child. This was my half brother Wally. So they just went right on the road and were traveling.
So it's
And I
yin,
think,
it's yin and yang and half and half. Is that what it is?
yeah, and then I think this way the story really goes. I think they were on the road so much that when she was pregnant with me, I think Seattle was the closest station, like to go and have the baby with some family and a place to be at that time. And I know we migrated, I was told as a young kid, we lived in LA for a while, then we moved out to Council Bluffs, and then we were in Lincoln, Nebraska, where then we got close to Chicago, Joliet, and that's when we settled. By this time, I'm just 4 years old when we get to the Chicago area. So that's why I don't have much memory, and Chicago feels like my home because in from 4 years old, I've been living here ever since.
I never knew that part of the story. I knew your mom and I knew
Yeah,
your dad, and
sure.
I really never knew your brothers either. They were kind of,
Yeah, no,
but
they were
that's
disgruntled.
because Gary's dad ended up in vaudeville basically after the adagio. Adagio. Tell him what it is. It's like,
Well, that's the slow, as in a musical term, slow and graceful movement. If you play a musical piece, well, dancers apply the same thing. It's not so much the jitterbug or the fast tap or anything like that. It's all the slow lifts put the music, where the dancers would have the girls and lift them and move very choreographed, all to the music. Because my dad always claimed he wasn't a good dancer. He was just my mom was always a good dancer, and he just did the lifts and the styling and all that.
yeah. I was thinking they were more like Apache dancers, but I think I'm wrong.
Well, no, that's funny because not many people know that term. I'll bring that up once in a while. At one point, because he, especially not so much with my mom, but his first wife was really the vaudeville era, because my mom was 20 years younger than my dad. So by the time that they were, vaudeville was basically gone when the Family Act started. So
Mhm.
all the stories you see his early stuff with Zhang, that's when all the different styles, and they did different acts of dancing. But our family actually did an Apache dancing one time, because with the acrobats, we could do all the stunt and the fake fighting and everything that is in that traditional dance. That obviously Marna knows, because Marna knows.
That's Wait a minute, excuse me, my chair is killing me. Um, well, when you're Apache dancing is almost like the tango, the Argentina tango today. That's kind of what it was.
Yeah, and from
Right.
my understanding, now I could be wrong, but actually I get Googled. The guys I worked with for a while Googled me because they didn't almost believe me. But it also creates, and a lot of times they're said in like this, it's a French, I think it comes from the French thing, but like in the cantina, and the girl with like the leather slit up skirt and the
That's right.
tops, and then it almost turns into a fight, but it is a dance like the tango. It's kind of a slow moving thing like that.
Right. That's
But
right.
it's a term not a lot of people know.
No, that it was dum 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 dum, and the woman always got like smacks or something,
Right. No, it was involved like the choreographed fighting, because that's
right.
why all of us being acrobats, we'd stage this whole thing to do, to grab the guy's arm, flip him out onto his back and everything. So, and my mom was always the hot chick, so she wore the slit in the dress,
Oh, sure. And sometimes they wore berets,
Oh yeah, that's right. Even the French little handkerchief and the striped shirts, the guys
Right.
almost looked like mimes.
Yes. It's your mom. I knew her
Sure.
older, she was older and she was
Right.
very pretty
Oh,
woman.
yeah. No, she was always mistaken, especially being younger than my father, 20 years. Everybody always thought she was our sister. That
Mhm.
was always the just the running thing,
Mhm.
that where's the mother,
Well, she was, and I can always tell. You can tell on an older woman without wigs and makeup if they were pretty when they were young, and
Yeah.
she must have been a knockout.
Well, yeah, she was, it's my mom. I look at that way, but I know even having child pictures of her small, she looked like a Shirley Temple when she was all her younger dancing recital stuff because she had the curly hair like Shirley Temple. But of course she was attractive, and she had a great figure too because she was a dancer and acrobat, and they're always well designed.
Yes, and of course what did they call you? The Toddettes? No.
Well, it was when we came to Chicago. You knew Harry Breen, right? And his wife Celeste. Yeah,
Celeste,
he
I know her. Yes.
he was the first agent in Chicago that wrote this act, and he came up with the name himself, Harry Todd and the Toddlers, which made sense. And it had a whole. My dad had dogs too that he would.
Oh, yes. I'm going to try and find a picture of that. Let's see.
Yeah. But
dog.
I mean, but Harry Breen wrote that first act we did, which came Chicago, which was very successful till we grew out of it because kids all of a sudden we weren't toddlers.
I see. Let's see. There he is.
There's Harry Brown. Now that's real late for him.
I know. I don't have all the pictures in my share thing. I'll get them for later.
Yeah, I'm not sure all the ones I send you. I wasn't sure how
this
this was going to go.
This is my first Zoom hosting thing, so I'm learning as I go. Sorry, folks that are watching this, but fuck you.
I'm her practice dummy.
I'll get it. Because he had like chihuahuas at the beginning.
Right. This was actually towards the end. Yeah, he had all the. There is one in there, I think. And even what's funny because at the time he had one less dog, and we took my grandma's Pekingese and put it in the picture, so we each had a dog to hold. So that dog was never in the act, the Pekingese, because I'm sure never see many Shih Tzus or Pekingese in a trained dog act.
No, you don't.
Not too conducive for that.
There was one with all you people's
In the row, we're standing from high to low, kind of. We're each holding a dog.
Yeah, here it is.
Toy terriers and chihuahuas.
How's that?
That's the one. Yeah, and if you see my brother Rick, he's got the Pekingese. He's just like, we're short. Go get grandma's dog.
That is so your dad,
Oh yeah.
Harry was a hoot.
Yeah, he was.
He really was.
He was real showbiz guy. He loved it. He was.
And
he was grateful for it.
Yeah, and of course I'm going to talk you as you now because your brothers are gone, but the three of you really got brought up in show business, period.
Oh yeah, we were homeschooled, not a day of public school for any of us. So we traveled more than I traveled in the band, for those years, really, because we were just on the road a lot. And
that makes you savvy. You're a very savvy person.
I think so. I think at least you learn to adapt to different situations socially. You're just not in that same going to school each day, playing with the neighborhood kid. Maybe you don't have any encounters, so you get to college or something happens, or you maybe get a car and get out of the neighborhood. But I was,
Or rob a bank.
rob a bank, yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
no, I always feel like I get along, and I have always made me have faith in people too, because I always saw people basically the same. I didn't go, well, they're idiots in Montana's, or they're hicks in Kentucky, or they're snobs in Vermont, or whatever the people say about regional. I just always saw people the same, because in those groups, I always thought there was all those groups within the state. There were the arrogant and the snobs and the friendly and the hicks, and every state produces that.
Old people in Florida.
Old people in Florida, yeah, and they come from all over, so you get the variety there.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, East Coast to down the center, and the West Coast.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of Chicago people are moving down now.
Oh
That
gosh.
I know the old guys.
Well, I was trying to. That was the game plan till this COVID thing set in, and then everybody started moving to Florida. Now you can't even got to get on a waiting list for a home, and
I
pay
know.
lots of extra bucks. So
I know. Actually, there's a duplex behind me that got taken over by the bank. You might get a good deal.
well, it's, I'm gonna go to the West Coast side, with us Midwesterners. I like over there,
Depends on where you live over there.
Yeah, that's true. That's
It
true. But I
depends on where
like
you
that.
live anywhere,
That's true. And I'm just where you get into. I don't know. I mean, Inglewood, where you were, I know you were real fond of the area, but I could just see that there was lots of reasons for that, going down. But it's just another spot. You find your clique and hang out. But you're big city. You're a city girl. So I think the East Coast suits you better.
I really am, and that's why I like it better here. It's a little more cosmopolitan.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it is. It's solid. It feels almost like suburbia till you get to bigger communities as you move up and down. But that East Coast, it's just solid, as you know.
Except when I go out and smoke at 9 o'clock, it's like pitch black and everybody's in fucking bed. And that's
yeah. You haven't got into that routine yet.
no. But there's a bar behind us, and I can almost clock it at 3:30. They're open till 5 here. It's like the only bar in town that's open that late. And they are so fucking drunk. And the women are screaming and yelling, and I'm gonna tell you, it's like, I'm glad I don't live on that side. I live away. We don't hear it in the house. But if I lived right by them there on the canal, I think, I don't know what.
Too much. Well,
oh, yeah. I mean, like these women, they're worse than the men. They got to be drunk. I don't know if they're married or not. Probably not. They probably got left by their husband, someone who wasn't drunk. But I don't know. Whatever. That's their life. I don't.
Yeah. And drinking that late, as I know, and done, things can go sideways quick.
Well, I don't mind staying in a bar till 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, really,
Sure.
we did it all the time. Go out
Right.
and eat, and
That's
maybe
Sure.
go to the zoo at 6.
Yeah. No, I know they used to wait sometimes and they hit the breakfast places, then they'd open,
That's right. That's right.
Oh.
Because little Gary and the toddlers ended up growing up and moved into, where did you live with your dad? I forgot.
Well, we started off in Hagwish in a trailer park, because we came in a trailer. I mean, we were all of the 5 of us and 6 dogs living in a small trailer. And then we got the bigger trailer in Hagwish. And
What's
then
English? Where is that though?
That's right on the line over there by Cal City and Dalton. And it's just a little Polish suburb. It used to be real Polish. I don't know if it still is.
Okay.
And now, then we moved to Hammond and bought the house.
Okay.
Because my dad wanted to get that practicing, and he only moved there just because the taxes were cheaper than Illinois.
Right.
And it was still as close access to, the city and everything, which we used to get a lot of work.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I remember because I met Gary. I don't know how old you were. Maybe 17, 18.
If it was Corrado's, early Corrado's, I was 17 when I started with Bill and Norm. So it just depends when that window came in, I think we got to know each other more when Jim Towns got in the band a little more. It seemed like you were coming out more.
I knew you there because of you know,
Oh,
Tone.
yeah.
And for those that don't know who Tone is, he, he was a drummer that I lived with for 23 years. And he was a really good drummer.
Hell yes.
He was just an asshole, other than that.
Well, sometimes that's the lane us drummers just get stuck with, because if my wife was down here, she might say the same thing as you, Mark. He's a good drummer, but he's an ass.
What killed me was when I went to marry Les, he was still living in the apartment. He wouldn't get out. And I finally said to him, and of course, I didn't talk to him for 3 years while he was living with me. He never gave me any money or, finally he started giving me money and I let him stay. Didn't talk to him, nothing. And he says to me, I knew you were fooling around. I'm going, fooling around and getting fucking married. Get the hell out of here. I mean, it could be like a sitcom, everyone would say, I don't believe it. It's not true, but it is. And then Ricky Frigo picked him up to take him wherever he went. And he had sold a ring that I gave him, but lent him. And I started screaming at Ricky. Was another, people that don't know, was another drummer, very well-known drummer in Chicago who passed away.
Yeah.
And I'm screaming at Ricky going, you see, this is your friend. He's an asshole. He did this and he did that. Get out. I told you I love you. Now get out, So that was that. But that's how I met you, was at Corrado's.
Sure.
Definitely.
And Tone helped. He was a teacher to me and learning, the young, and I was coming into a whole lot of styles of music I'd never played. I looked up to him, and then he was just such a cool daddy-o beatnik type guy. I was just kind of infatuated with him, really, as being 17, 18, and just talking to him I'd get a kick out of it. It was entertaining to me because he was just so, hey man, you got to get going, man. Oh, and then you guys, I remember one time he came in when I was at the gallery, Jim Townsend, he goes, oh no, it was at Corrado's. He goes, you took my job, and I hadn't met him yet. He goes, you took my job, and he's just being crazy. And at first I'm like, what the hell's this guy? I couldn't tell, but then, he would like hug me then and talk with me. He had his good side.
Yeah, he did for about a week.
Well,
I will say this, because of him, I've got good time.
Well, yeah, he taught you a lot.
Yeah, he did. I have really good time. And a lot of the guys that I've worked with through the years go, you really have a good time. Yeah, that's because of asshole over there, whatever.
Well, he played in time too, and you worked with him so much. I think when people don't have that gift to start with, and then you're playing with people who are also the same way, you're all moving all over the place all the time.
That's right. That's right.
So it's always, as much as playing with tracks is not a little sterile compared to live music, but boy, it makes you have a good time. You have no choice.
But then when you go with a live band, you don't know how to do it either. So,
well, I guess if you're too married to it, yeah. If you've not had, it's always in life. You need everything.
Yeah.
You need all the things that make you grow.
Right. And you know what it is, Gare? You're old now. It's experience. It's experience. The more you go, the more experience you get.
Sure.
And the wiser you get within the music portion of it, maybe not the personal thing, but the music.
Yeah, no, well, I'm really enjoying this final phase I'm in now of my career, which is, I call it semi-retired, because I'm really not hustling, and I'm really not trying to develop an act to make more money. Like, most of my life, we were always trying to figure out how to make more money, and now I just figured out, this is enough. It supplements what little I have, and the both make both ends meet, and it's okay. And I'm just enjoying it.
Let me do this one. Where is it? Here. See it?
Oh, there's the original Odyssey.
Now, because that Corrado's led into this, the original Odyssey, right?
Yeah, that's where we started. That was our first job at Corrado's.
Corrado's. Tell me about
Corrado's was very shocking to my lifestyle because being 17 and walking into this little place, and I had been with the family act. It wasn't that I actually have been working bigger type venues and fairs and stages, and sometimes 12-piece bands playing behind us, and it seemed like a really, and even some of the little club work I'd done out in the Hammond area there, where I met Billy Pierce, they were even a little bigger clubs, and because how small Corrado's was, so I was like, well, this isn't such a big deal. But then the characters, what did that room seat? About 75 people or something?
Maybe.
Little dance floor in the back, but they'd have 150 in there. You'd find out the way they'd stand in the aisle. But most interesting job ever. And then Bill Pierce and Norm King are like legends in this room, with people like Billy Diamond and all the people that played that room, these long stays. I'd never heard of such stuff. With our first day there, we were 9 months straight, and that was the 9:30 to 3:30 and 10 to 4 on Saturday.
And if the clocks went back, you played
Right,
the
you
extra
put
hour.
the extra. That's right.
And these children today, oh my God, I had to do 2 shows. Really? Really, you piece of shit. You don't know what it is to work.
Well, those are 6-hour nights. I mean, those are long nights.
Every night.
Yeah,
Well, not 2, but 5 nights a week.
sure.
And then 7-hour on the time change.
Right.
And if they paid you, you could stay after hours, because Corrado's, you could kind of do that.
Sure. Well, and it was a good tip house. I mean, I was didn't even think about things like that, but there was a lot of people with money in that house,
Oh yeah.
and they threw it around. I think almost every bartender that worked there ended up opening another bar.
That's right.
They all went, and I'm sure that was all of their money they took,
And Norman would he'd stand on the piano and play a stand-up bass and put the money into the bass, if you remember. I don't know if you remember.
Well, I missed that era. See, that was before me, because when I worked there, because Corey Corrado's just bought that baby grand, and that rule was no more Norm getting on. That was all they talked about. He was playing an electric bass on top of it. Then he didn't have the stand-up.
Okay.
And that was not allowed. And he never did it once.
That was before that then.
Yeah, but that was legendary. That's all they talked about.
Well, he never played great bass, right?
Right. No.
No. And so,
but I was a bad enough drummer at first. I didn't know that.
I did. At least it kind of muffled the bass with all because he would get a lot of money in that bass. They were throwing him money all the time.
Oh yeah.
Somebody walked in, I'm not going to mention any names. He go, oh, look, here comes so-and-so. He's a hit man,
Well, he did that all the time too. They loved that.
But he wasn't
not the real ones though, because there were some real ones in there. But he used to do it some of the times and liked it,
Yeah, I know. But sometimes he wasn't kidding.
I know the ones you're not going to mention.
No. So okay. Really, it just, they were fun days. Those days.
It was.
They
were.
Really
I was still ending up the show business family act. I mean, I was still working some jobs doing the tumbling, and I was because I remember the funniest thing at Corrado's. Then I ended up being on the Bozo show, because our family used to work that twice a year in town. They always have the variety acts on there, and so I did my single act on the Bozo show and the tumbling. And everybody, imagine all these guys, because they all took me under their arm, like, hey kid, taking care of you, anybody mess with you in this joint, so they all got and watched Bozo the next day to watch my act. And then it would never end. They'd have me in the dining room, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they would move the tables and chairs, and I'd have to start tumbling in the dining room to show everybody that I could do. So now I'm doing acrobatics in the dining room of Corrado's. Turn on the lights, move those tables, watch what this kid can do.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. But they all were great to me, they were wonderful.
Behind that bar, there was a stairway going downstairs to the basement.
Yes.
So Tone was playing one night, and for some reason he went down there, probably to smoke a joint or something. And there's Norman on the stairs trying to screw a girl.
Well, that I believe.
And Tone got mad. I'm going, what are you getting mad for? I thought it was funny. That was him, And yeah, well,
that was Norm.
I put this up because you're playing drums here.
Oh, there it is. All right, yeah, with the brothers. That's the Todd. That's my first drum set. That's a set of Kents.
I see.
And that's my brothers. Rick is on, well, I was looking at the screen with my right, and Wally, the oldest, that's the half brother, had left, and they're playing their guitars that they just got to. And I mean, we had these instruments for 3 weeks, and my dad had it in the act. I mean, we learned one song and we were on stage with it. It was how fast he moved on that, you know.
Yeah, your dad was a hoot. He really was. It's funny how we're influenced by our parents. You don't realize it until you're older, you know. My dad knew your dad, didn't he? Wasn't
Well,
it?
yeah, no, that
Yeah,
was the amazing. Well, only through you, but what he knew your uncle better,
that's right.
Sonny.
That's right.
And then we all had the Thanksgiving dinner. I think that's the only time he met your dad,
Okay.
to
And they
my knowledge, that
right.
time.
And they were both the same kind of guys.
Yeah, really. They
Let's
were, you
see
know,
who has the best story about something. Is it me
right.
or you?
And I think your dad won. He seemed,
I'm
you know, he
sure.
seemed to be, it's just his domination of it. They even made my dad be a little quiet. I was enjoying that too. But they
Yeah.
were trying to trade stories. I remember that. They were upping each other.
Mr. Know-It-All 1 and Mr. Know-It-All 2. That was the way my dad was number 1 and
Sure.
your dad was number 2. Okay, so we're at Corrado's, and that group, the New Odyssey, worked a lot.
Well, it was actually the Odyssey at that point. If you want to get
That's right.
technical,
That's right. I'm
if
sorry.
you want to make it technical, and that was Norm, Bill. We were 9 months at Corrado's, and then we went to Pheasant Run. We were there for 7 months. Then we went back to Corrado's for another 9 months. Then we went, remember Dino from Corrado's, the bartender?
Kinda.
And he opened Danny's Barn in Mount Prospect.
Okay.
And then we went there for a few months. And then we had a road trip, which was the funniest adventure ever with Norm King.
I bet.
Because I don't know if he'd ever been on the road, but he didn't act like it. And he it was up in Sandusky, Ohio, and it was near that big amusement park. And the Pheasant Run people opened I forget, it's Brush Mill Creek or something. It probably doesn't exist now. Opened a hotel up there, kind of trying to do a resort style like Pheasant Run. And he went up there, and Norm King froze. I mean, he was so terrified because he didn't know anybody. And basically the act was built around him at that time, you know, because he was the talent, the personality that really shined. He had the most charisma and, you know, that voice, and it was everything. And he stood at the back of the stage, like, and wouldn't hardly do anything. And that was the non-drinking Norm King. And that was the arrangement with Bill and him because of Bill.
Oh,
And up at that job, Norm started drinking to get his stage courage up.
oops.
And then that led to a big problem with Norm and Bill. And that was kind of the beginning of the end of Norm leaving.
I
the
see.
band.
I never knew that.
Yeah, that was all the way that rolled because they actually went to fisticuffs. I guess nobody's around. I can tell the story. They got an actual fist fight up there. And one time at Pheasant Run, the kid, you know, I got between these guys physically to push them apart from a fight one time at Pheasant Run in the lobby. And so we're up at Pheasant Run, and Bill walked in the room in the afternoon. Norm was drinking scotch already, like at 2 PM. And Bill picked up the glass and threw it in Norm's face. And Norm just sat there and took it, nothing. And then we're at the Saturday night, we're up going to the dressing rooms, the 3 hotel rooms in the hallway, you know, and we're kind of going. And Norm goes to Bill, come over here, Bill. And he opens the door and he pushes Bill into his room. And then he pushes me because he doesn't, and he locks off the room. And all I hear on the outside is bang, like a Batman, bang, zoom, pow, you know. And at this point, I'm like, fuck it, let them fight. I'm done. You know, I've tried. Maybe they need to do that. And then the next day, I see them, you know, and they're going out to have breakfast, and they patch things up. And Bill had a black eye, and he's wearing makeup on the job the next day and stuff. I guess Norm won.
I guess he did.
So that, you know, that was kind of the beginning of the end. They never really got through that again. So
You could do a whole show on just him, you know.
yeah, well, Norm, it was so great. And that's when Jimmy Towns came in.
Yeah.
And then we were over at that little gallery. So
And then you became the New Odyssey after that.
no, well, after not, that was still Odyssey because Bill was still there. So it was Bill and Jim and myself. And then
Okay.
and we stayed there for a long time, like 9 months or something. We were there a long time. Then we started working in Golden Eagle and did a few other spots. But then we were trying to get in those Don Faber rooms, the Al Gowers, the Lander Chalet, the bigger showrooms. And Faber controlled all those, the agent. So he had one that had a fourth guy with horns. That's when Capetto came in.
Gotcha.
But we still were Odyssey because Bill Pierce was in the band. And then I think Capetto was in the band 3 or 4 months. And that's when we were at the Torchlight in Addison. And it had a famous Greek fire by the kitchen and burned all Bill's grand piano in there, no insurance. And then that was it. Bill said, this is a sign. And that's when he quit the band.
Ah.
And that's when we became the New Odyssey.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, for the young ones, all right, Don Faber was an agent. And Don Faber had all these show groups, which you guys were really.
Well, we were being trained. We were on that was the thing that was kind of in the process,
Dave Major and the Miners and.
Right, yeah, but everything was Don Faber was just like a cookie. He wanted everybody to wear the suits and ties and change for the shows and everybody get horns and everybody, just copy the formula, which was working.
Well, he also had some smaller groups like the Pepper Pots and, those guys.
Sure. Yeah. No.
What he did, which was good at the time, I don't know if it would work today. He'd put them in these small rooms like the Holiday Inns and this and that, or you guys somewhere in a room for like 3 months, let's say. And then he'd switch them all. And the Pepper Pots or whoever would go to this room and that would go and kept them working where if you wanted to go see somebody, you didn't have to go one night.
Sure. And that was a little before my time on some of that with the on stage when he was doing that, because it was more of the 4 weeks, but it's still the same way. It was just not as long as stays because you would do 4 weeks at Al Gower's, you do 4 weeks at Landers. And I mean, when you signed with him, you literally you have to tell him I want 2 weeks off vacation because he just fills up the year, sometimes 2 years. And that was the genius of it. He controlled all those rooms because Dave Major was so big in the onstage majority in those bands that if you didn't buy all of Don's acts, the ones that weren't doing as well, like we weren't at that time, we weren't drawn in those rooms like those acts were. You didn't get those acts. That was his legal thing.
Well, plus for the regular person, even I used to work at the Holiday Inn in Highland Park.
Okay.
They had a bar and I was 18? And I would go into the bar every night and stay there at 1 o'clock. I didn't drink. Number one, they wouldn't serve me, but I didn't drink anyway. And I'd see all these people. And it was the Three Twins.
Yeah, Gary Douglas's
dad. And these were like trios. And they worked the holidays and they worked here. And they would stay, maybe it wasn't 3 months. It was a long time.
But that was more of the business. I think you're right.
And they'd go to these different bars, and the Dynatones, I don't know if they were with him or not, but I think they were.
Well, and the Dynatones were at the Four Horsemen indefinitely, it seemed like almost.
No, I know.
Scully over there.
Not before that, though. They were.
Yeah, they were moving around also.
Yeah, a long time ago. But that's not the point. If they stayed in a place for at least a month or at least a couple, 3 weeks, if you couldn't see them this Friday, Saturday, or Sunday or whatever, you could go next week.
Sure.
You didn't have to go the one night only that these people play now. They're going to be at here's called the Funky Biscuit, one night. So if you wanted to go and you got something else to do, you can't see them.
Yeah, well, that's just one of the many reasons as I've analyzed it or tried, because even now that I'm back in the lounge business, because the band really got out of it towards the end, I can't find a job that's 2 nights in the same place. It's just not. I don't see anybody doing it. So the whole social going out, maybe drinking laws, disco, sports bars, cable TV, I don't know, the whole combination. Because it seemed like those rooms when we were working them, were the social gathering spots. It's where you went to meet chicks. And, Saturday night would be date night, and that'd always be more subdued. And Friday was crazy. And during the week, you never knew for sure. Get some conventioners, locals, more the going out. But it was just a wild, the business was just, it was the happening. Even if people would come every week to see you and just hang out, it got to be a social thing.
That's
And
right.
even if they weren't watching you or hanging on everything, they say, "Oh, Marna's here," and go sit with Marna, and then you guys are talking, we're doing, and we come down to break and talk with you. It was a real social club.
That's
you
right.
know.
It's true. And times have changed. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not being old. I'm just saying what it used to be.
sure.
And
It's
it was
just
better
different.
for the musicians in those days.
Well, yeah, you could work 5 nights a week. You could make a living and be bad.
That's right.
You could learn to play, and what a training ground. You start playing 5 nights a week, you actually get good. I don't know how anybody gets good that's not dedicated now, working once, twice a week.
Well,
They,
Sonny King, yeah, I never work with a piano, you know that. So Sonny King, who used to be Jimmy Durante's second banana, and he knew RDG and this and that, and he kind of took me under his wings. And he got me a gig at the Raphael, which is for those that don't know, is a boutique hotel in Chicago, right off of Michigan Avenue.
Okay.
And they had a little lounge, and it was a piano bar thing. And I never worked that. So I said, yeah, because he got me really good money, money I couldn't get myself because I was just a local jokel person,
Sure.
So I'll tell you one thing, my chops got really good working that bar because I had to sing Terry, I forget his name. Kerry Klein was that piano player. And I knew him from Ricochets. Okay. And he was like a young guy. And all of a sudden he became, how can I put it? A primo piano player, whatever. Anyway, he would sing a couple, but basically I sang all night. And it was a little tiny place. And if we were going to take a break and people walked in, we wouldn't take a break. You'll lose them,
Well, there's that too. That's right. If you didn't have an owner that was an idiot, worried about a schedule or something, that's right. Bill Pierce was very much that way when I worked with him all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a little of that in me left now because where I'm working, I'm not always in big draws or anything happening now, but these clubs I'm working, but I worked 4 nights a week all summer long, and it's the best thing for me. I mean, I've learned this act now,
That's good because we're going to get to that. I want to get to
the early stage here.
Well, yeah, the new Odyssey. I have to tell people. I don't know if you will. They were together for 40 years, correct?
Correct. The three, yeah.
40 fucking years for a group. And it's not like what's the name? The Stones or anything.
The Stone, yeah, no.
Just
different world.
A local basic group that traveled. Okay.
Sure.
Is a lot. And the two others who had children at that time that went to college, they put all their kids through school. They put them through college. And that's unheard of sometimes with bands. And
yeah.
I know you went through a few things with that band. 2. One with Capetto and one with what's his name that died on stage.
Sure, Tom Walsh.
Yeah, that was terrible. We can get to that. But the people don't realize how long you worked. And this Gary here that I'm pointing to, wherever you are, here you are.
Here I am.
He started out as a drummer. And I remember when you were living with Diane, and your wife knows who Diane was, and this little, and
she actually still wished I lived with Diane. She encourages that once in a while. You could go back and stay with Diane.
Yeah, you can find her.
We tried, didn't we?
Yeah, oh, she was crazy, but it was, we were friends. I'd go up to your house all the time. And I remember when you started learning the trumpet. I remember that. And then you learned, and of course, you knew how to play the banjo.
Yeah, I knew 2 songs on the banjo.
But you knew how to play it.
Sure.
You knew how to play it. Then you started with the trumpet. Then it went on to all these instruments that you actually learned how to play. I mean, trumpet's hard.
Well, it takes a dedication. I had a good work. I wasn't a good learning theory and traditional things. And Mike Capetto helped me a lot when I in the band, being an ex-school teacher, and he would just give me information, and then I would have to do it my own way. But I think the thing I learned from growing up in that show business family and being an acrobat, we got up every day. We had our juice, our wheat germ, our vitamins, and we went and tumbled. My dad built that room on the back of our house, 40 by 20, 10 feet high, tumbling mats. I mean, we tumbled. So I get up in the morning. Till this day, I'm ready to go. I mean, my best 2 or 3 hours in the morning, and I do it now. I get up, I wake up at 5 o'clock, have a coffee, I go downstairs, put on the headset, and I practice my guitar because I'm energized. Then I go to the health club, come back, wait for Sandy's up, then I get to the horns and do other things. But I try to play every day.
That's the way to do it.
And now it's just kind of fun in this mode now because it's a different thing happening for me, But anyway, I was worked hard on it.
You play a lot of instruments.
Yeah.
Saxophone, you play this, you play that. And that's what you guys did. 30 instruments and three guys or something?
3 guys, 30 instruments, yeah.
And it was very, very entertaining.
And that's that Dave Major mold, once again, the favorite. That was part of we were all inspired by him. It wasn't like an original ideal of ours. That was the successful bands were doing that. And even the bands that weren't as successful, they all were dubs. Everybody was playing a trumpet or something else doing it, at that point. So we went extreme like Dave and Onstage Majority did.
But, I have to give you kudos for learning all that stuff. No, you did. You did.
Well, I was,
and synthesize something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I gotta tell you, folks, it was really a fun band. And like you did, what is it? 24, 8, 6,
25, 6 to 4.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. And Chicago is my favorite band. I mean, it really is. And when I heard you guys play that, you did a fucking nice job. You really did.
Well,
I mean, it sounded great. It sounded just like the record, whichever wants to hear. You played it.
Sure.
There was no deviation with it and ruining that song.
Right.
Played the way it was, no matter what.
Sure.
And it was just a fun group. And I know everybody misses you. I know that. I read it, we miss the band. We miss the band.
Sure.
But after 40 years, Jesus Christ, you guys are old already.
Well, yeah. And it was, if we were going to stay together any longer, we'd have had to almost relocate to Florida or somewhere where the market was stronger for our age demographic, because it was slowing down and we'd ran the gamut. I mean, it was time. We were able to end as friends. It ended on such a good note. And I think I was always felt really good about that because it had been really sad to have an ugly moment where we break up because we're mad and over something that probably wouldn't matter, but everybody would stick to their guns. Michael J came in one day, we were at the Tulip Fest in Holland, and he goes, I think I've hit the wall. I think I'm going to be leaving the band, and it was a little shocking, but it wasn't, we all knew a day somebody was going to walk in and be first, whoever it was. And we were like, okay. And then Gary and I talked and we were going to add somebody and maybe do it a few more years. And we had one rehearsal with a guy plenty capable. And I felt bad for him because it was evident to Gary and I after that first rehearsal that we didn't want to sit, first of all, and teach this guy 40 years of repertoire and stuff that by the time we wanted to get a couple more years out of this, he might not even know the act yet, be able to do it. And then we're going to be done. It was a great accomplishment. Not that, we didn't get rich, but we made a solid living. Like you said, we put kids through college and it was just everyone's have nice homes in the suburbs, nothing big time, but it's all, I got out of the trailer park of Hagwish and frickin' Hammond,
Plus, your wife is a doll. I mean,
yeah, she is a doll. All of us had the benefit of wives that never hassled us about doing this. There was just no, and they all took the responsibility of having a job, even if Sandy was part-time or whatever it would be. So we had medicals for our family, because that would have been a huge expense, being independent, being gypsy musicians, So they were all real good about that. And
I want to show one picture here. Where are you? You're gone. Oh, here you are. Okay. So
there you are, doing our finale tour in Florida.
It was too. You were almost done then. Not quite, but almost.
Yeah, that was everywhere we were going that year was the end. But was that in November, or was that a
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Yesterday,
Might have been December.
much less November.
Yeah, I don't know.
No idea. I don't know, but I know it was a sad thing for me too, knowing you guys, because I knew all of you, but
sure.
When you have to, I understood. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, most people, it was only a compliment if they're sad that they miss it. That's still a compliment to us. But I think everybody understood. 40 years, what the hell, Yeah,
really.
What else can we do? That was it, and it wasn't going to go anywhere. And we were running out of gas, of enthusiasm and energy, so we were rehearsing less, and we always cared about the product. I think we always maintained the shows, but it was getting to be a rut, and it was just time. It was time, it was a good ending. We got out just in time where it was our decision.
All right, we're coming up on like now, but I want to take a little break. Take a little break, get a little drink. Well, not a drinky, and not a drinky, but a poppy.
Okay.
Whatever. Okay. And I got to find something, and we'll take a little break, and then we're gonna come back with part 2, which will be even funnier.
Well, when do I tell the story where I cry? I thought if I was on TV, I could cry.
I want to ask you another question, but I'll save it for the next.
All right.
Okay. Where am I here? Okay. Let's see. Hi, everybody. We're here for part 2 with little Gary Todd and Marna, the last lady of Sleaze song. Sorry. And I have to do my sponsor right now. And my sponsor is Nick Pontarelli. And I don't know if you all know Nick or not. Did this do? Wait a minute. Can you see that, Gary?
No, I don't see. If you're showing his logo, I don't see that.
I can't. Well, I can't find his picture. All right, screw it. Nick Pontarelli works for Remax.
This week you'll pay him.
I will. Nick Pontarelli works for Remax, and he's a singer too. He's a really good singer. You probably in the Chicago area know him. He works on Estes and all these places, but he is a fabulous, fabulous agent. He's sold and bought for other people, and housing. And if you ever need a good real estate agent, that would be the one to go to. Would be Nick Pontarelli. And I can't get his thing up right now. So it was here. I don't know what happened to it. So maybe I'll put it up later. And if not, I'll put it in the comments on YouTube, because this will be on YouTube. And he's my sponsor for the night, and hopefully for maybe the next couple of interviews that I do, because I'm going to do more. If you want to be interviewed, get in touch with me, and you all know how. Just say, where's that sleaze ball? Okay, now we're at the New Odyssey, and we worked 40 years, and now you all separate and go your oin way, but you're still friends. And you have, oh, you know what I didn't put up? Let's see if I still have it. Wait a minute. Let's see. Yes. Wait. Oh, it's fucking gone. Oh, here, is this it? No. Where do these pictures go? They're like gone. Oh, well. We play golf. We play golf.
I said that goofy one.
Yes. I had a golf picture, but I don't know where the hell it went. So that's whatever. Anyway, so now you're kind of back home. You're not really traveling. You are later, but you're really staying at home, which is up in the northwestern suburbs.
Yeah. Chain of Lakes area.
Yes. I fell into Fox Lake one day. It was lovely. I came smelling like a frog when I got out of there. I'll
Yeah,
never.
that's what they claim.
Oh, it was terrible. I was with this guy who dated this guy at a boat, and he's standing. It has holes in it, like. And he was standing and goes, "Come on in. It's nice. I'm here." And it was up to here on him. And I said, "All right." So I stepped off the boat and went down about 10 feet under. I thought I was gonna die. And I came up, and all of a sudden I said, "I smell like a frog." It was really bad. Anyway, bad.
Those are shallow lakes up here.
Yeah, it was really bad. Stinky, stinky, stinky. Of course, probably at old age I smell worse now, but that's beside the point. Okay. So you're working as the new Odyssey guy,
Yeah.
right?
Which has confused everybody, because if you didn't know the band, it doesn't make any sense at all,
Yeah,
But I still, people who knew the band, it brings a few people in.
yes, it does. And you have a YouTube thing, which is what I showed before, and I'll show it again. It's on YouTube. He's got a channel, and he does a lot of songs on this channel. Excuse me. And I'll put it up. Go to YouTube and go to New Odyssey Guy and subscribe. And you play all the instruments,
I do.
which is very entertaining.
Well, that's basically what I'm doing now. I'm hoping to, as I have to always admit, the first year I was discombobulated, trying too hard, trying to be the band still by myself, and didn't know the act well enough that I was learning on these new parts on these instruments. I played smaller parts. Now I'm playing entire arrangements, the solos, everything. I was just off, and it's going to coming in the end of this year. I'll be 3 years doing it now, and I've really hit my stride this last year. And I just change instruments every 2 songs. I'm never on the same instrument more than 2 songs. And that seems to be entertaining enough for people that keeps them entertained. And I don't do a lot of kibitzing or messing. I'm starting to involve it a little bit, but I just kind of lost my whole, doing the bits. And I did so many bits for so many years, and it was fun. And I've always worked with a straight man, and it was tough to work by myself, because I was the interrupter. I was the person, kind of sniping, sitting back on the drums, and somebody would be trying to get something done up front and make an announcement. It was always funny for me to interrupt them. I did that. I did that type of approach to comedy way back to the Family Act with Billy Pierce. I was just always the interrupter. And it was really tough to figure out how to get myself going comedically. And I was really stumbling and tripping at the beginning. And I'd lost a lot of desire to do it. It really wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. And I felt that some of the comedy I was doing, because of all my influences, it wasn't like Saturday Night Live, cutting edge comedy style. More, lounge lizardy, vaudevillian. That's all the lines I knew, the way I think. And even now with the wokeness and political correctness, I think of stuff all the time that would be funny, but I don't dare say it,
Well,
because
I gotta tell you
somebody
something.
off.
You're funny.
Well, people still laugh at me, but I'm not going for the laugh. So I guess it's working out.
When you used to do Dale with the hats and stuff, I was trying to find that. I couldn't find it anywhere to really just showcase it. They used to wear these huge cowboy hats, the rubber,
Yeah.
like the
Foam rubber, yeah.
and you'd play. And
The
also,
William Tell Overture.
That was William Tell Overture. Then you did Dale, and you kept saying Dale, and they'd answer you. And of course, that was a bit.
Sure, because
funny bit.
well, and Michael sang the song though, and then I would take it over, and that was always, that premise was always, it was easy humor for me.
That's
and
right.
I guess upstaging somebody and interrupting it was a whole thing. And that's what I meant. It was kind of crazy the way it worked, but I have a sense of humor, so it's coming out in me now. But sometimes these little clubs, if you're not going after them to get them and drag them in, sometimes they don't care. I don't care. I'm enjoying playing these new tunes I have. I like the PA system I have. I've learned a bunch of songs that really fit me now. I'm enjoying playing them, and I'm building a different type of crowd that follows me. That's really what happens. You just, if I was pushing the comedy and figured out how to do that strong again, I'd have a bunch of people follow me for that. Now I'm having more people follow me to listen to the tunes, and I guess it's just kind of fun. I mean, I did the other for 55 years or something, So one of my friends go, "Oh, what are you just trying to be a musician?" And I go, "No, I'm just really enjoying it. I started this act at 65. I'm 67 now. I'll be 68 in March, and I'm just I think it's fun to play just music and not be just always putting on a wig, jumping around, doing something absurd, just playing some tunes. Kind of fun."
I gotta tell you something. When I lived in Englewood on the West Coast of Florida, I took the dog to the Humane Society for shots and stuff, and it was real close, and they were real nice. And there was an older, quite a bit older woman that would sit at this desk and greet everybody and say, "Hi, what can I do for you?" Okay. And you'd walk over to the, the thing. So one day a girl comes out with this dog, and they said, "Well, what's his name?" And she says, "Banana," or something like that. And you know what I did? I looked at the lady and I went, "Dale." And because she knew the song. They didn't. They had no idea. Dale. And every time I'd see her, and on the way out, I go, "Dale."
Well, that punchline gets contagious. I can remember we worked big RV rallies, we'd be driving out and they'd be singing it at the truck, In fact, last year I did Snowfest up at, well, I wasn't Dale, but I was the Sweet Caroline, and I went on the tour bus afterward the show. They wanted me to go on and greet them goodbye, and I did the Sweet Caroline, bump, bump, bump. However he does that one now, so. And people have fun. I still do that,
The night I saw you in Venice when that picture was taken, and you were doing YMCA.
Yeah.
Everybody likes that song. I mean,
Sure.
Right. And everybody stood up and was doing YMCA, whatever.
Right.
Except the guy next to me. He's sitting there like this. And I looked at him and I said, "You don't like the song, Mary?" And he didn't know what I meant. And he just like that. And I go, "How can you do that like this?" Because it reminds me when I used to go to Miami to see my grandmother. And that was when I met Bob, my second husband. And we went to a place in Hollywood and saw Little Richard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he was at his top, really up there yet.
Yeah.
The room was like long. And we were like second row, it wasn't too big, far backwards, but long. And he came out with all these mirrored things, and he was fucking rocking the joint.
Yeah.
Going like this. The whole room was going like this, except for the guy sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Again, he's like this. And I looked at him, I said, "You don't like the music?" I mean, how can you sit there?
Yeah. Why are you here?
Really? I mean, I couldn't understand it. It doesn't matter what persuasion, if you're man, woman, child, that music rock,
Well, yeah, it was gospel boogie woogie. It was rock. It was original rock and roll, as it reformed.
I know. When I sit in with Terry, I do some of that stuff because I don't know the blues tunes because they're 48 stanzas and I can't remember my name anymore. So I'm not gonna,
It was funny. I just worked out in Sholesburg, Wisconsin last Saturday at Cheese Fest, and the guy who was emceeing the stage was a karaoke singer. He had a nice voice, So why the River String Band was tearing down and I had to get my stuff on stage, he was going to sing in between, and he sang probably 6 songs, and he did have a nice voice, but he had to read every one. And then his only comment to me when I was done, and I stayed on stage for 2 hours and 45 minutes, it was kind of a transient thing. And I just stayed up there because it seemed like the thing to do for that gig. And he just came up, he goes, "I didn't see anywhere you were reading the words to your songs." He goes, "Did you really know all the words to those songs?" And I went, "Yes, I did. And all the chords and all the solos." And, and I said, and I'm really kind of old school about that. Now, it's one thing if a person is to a point and they haven't worked and they need, but when I see people just everybody's reading with these tablets now.
I know.
They're not trying to learn them. Young people, there's no, it's just become another thing. The state of the art is changing. And I guess it's not offending anybody, and I'm turning into the old guy, but I just won't read anything on stage until I know it. I don't care if I go to the health club, and when I'm on the exercise bike and I'm learning a new song and I'm on there an hour, I listen to that song over and over again, the same song for an hour, and then I'll come home and sing it, and I will repeat that process till it comes out second nature,
I used to I have a book of words. And if I didn't know a song real well or hardly at all, and somebody would call it, especially a ballad, I'd put it by the piano where I could glance.
Well, that's another thing. If you're doing requests, that's another whole discussion. I mean, everything's allowed, but I mean, if it's just kind of your act, though, I see performers, it's their act. They came in there, this is their set list. And their set list includes even looking at chords on the, the words and everything. So they're just not using their mind. They'll never memorize anything. The symphonic players and stuff sometimes they read all the time.
I know.
And they come in to sit in with you. We had a guy who played Misty with us, and he was like played in some orchestra in Chicago. He brought the sheet music up there, to play Misty with us, because he just is married to reading stuff. Never puts it, he's insecure without looking at it.
I remember one time I was at the big house, anyway, I was at the big house, and they had a big bar and food, and people talk, because I don't care, it doesn't bother me. And there was a group in front of me at a big table with mom and dad and maybe grandpa and grandma and the young ones. And they ate, and I was doing my shtick, and they liked it. Then the second set came on. And the kid goes to me, he's like a teenager, "Do you know Marilyn Manson?" And I'm going, "Look at the way I'm dressed."
Yeah.
With bangles and the long earrings and my high heels. And I said, "All right, that'll be a $20 request." They gave it to me. And I told the band, go, da-dum, dum, dum, da-dum, like that. And I started singing, "I'm going to fuck you later when I get out." I was making a word. And I knew everybody at the bar, and they're laughing their ass off. And I continued on, made up all the words.
Oh, man.
And everybody was hysterical. But they gave me the money. So that's all I cared about.
Too funny.
It really was. It's like, I don't know. What was your worst gig in your whole life?
Oh,
Really?
I don't know. I always think of one that was real humiliating, because we were really in the prime of the new Odyssey band. We were really cooking and doing a lot of corporate work, and things were great. And this committee person at Sauce we were at the JC National Convention. Danny Thomas was on the show, and so they hired us for their local HorrorCon Marsh days up in Wisconsin. And it's a really kind of interesting. We get to the park, I think small, and then there was a beautiful stage inside this thing, and then it was a cover charge to get in. And if they said, we don't, the people, they'll line up, wait till before we start. And we got white tuxedos on because we're kind of in that mode. So this is in the 80s, when the show bands were still wearing some tuxes and stuff. Well, this crowd started gathering on the outside, and it was just totally rock t-shirts, and this committee person, it was their fault, hired the wrong band. And when they opened the doors and they're looking in, and we're up there da 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 doing In the Mood opener, and even the Capetto doing the double sax, as great as that was with Night Train, they didn't come in. Nobody came in, and we stayed in the room, and the committee people start running over to us. I just remember that being so horrible to the ego, and just that much rejection. And we were everywhere else, we're killing it,
Yes.
And it was just like, then I had to go get paid at the end of the night. I had to walk in that room, and I would kind of look at the guy who hired us, and I go, well, this is what he saw us do. We didn't do this just tonight. But it was a horrible feeling, So as far as for the ego, but I still didn't blame myself.
Well, I think my worst one was when I was with Louise.
Oh, Lindahl.
Yeah. And she used to do fairs, if you remember, her and her
I do.
husband.
That's what I know her from.
Oh, yeah, right. So she says, I have a gig for you at, I don't know, some big hotel, I don't know, the Hilton or somewhere, up in the banquet room, and I got you a band. I said, all right, who's the band? Well, there's this one and that one, and they're older, and older never bothered me
Sure.
because,
You did
I know a
standards.
lot of older guys that were great, So I said, fine. So I go up there and we had a talk down. There was trumpet and saxophone, drums, I guess piano and bass. I don't know. And I said, here's what I'm going to do. And here are the keys. Here's the set list. And I do this and I do that. And we end up and I tag out, like that. Oh, no problem. No problem. We get up on the stage. The PA was the PA that's on the ceiling where they do bingo or something,
Those metal horns at the fairs, they have a lot of times, just those
Yeah,
metal
well, this
horns.
was like the house PA in this room, and it was huge with
Yeah.
tons of people. And of course, it sounded terrible. I said, all right. So I started out with cabaret, I'm pretty sure. Well, the trumpet player lost his armature about 4 years ago. And the other guys were not horrible. They were bad, and the drummer was a circus drummer.
Yeah.
And he was playing dun da dun dun da dun. You're waiting for the elephants
The
to
march.
come out, It was the worst gig I have ever worked. It was terrible. I sounded terrible. They sounded terrible. But you know what? I took my money and I ran.
Well, and that you can't blame yourself. I mean, that's the agent putting you in a situation where because it could have been a great band. You're in Chicago, right?
I know.
I mean, there's a chance they come down there. Worked a fair date with Jimmy Dean, and there always would have the local would force their guys to be there. You couldn't even bring in certain union rules, and so Jimmy Dean is rehearsing these guys in the afternoon, and they can't read the charts, they can't play anything, and they're insisting, they're going to. And he was smart, he was so smart. So when he did, he came out then on the when they introduced him, and he goes, "No, fellas, don't play." He goes, he's doing it in front of the entire audience. Yeah, got the stage hands. Push that piano out here to the center. He goes, "I'm going to do something different for you folks tonight. We're going to send the band off the stage, and I'm going to do the show on the piano." And he sat down and did his whole show and accompanied himself. Because
Really?
there's a pro who had the benefit. I couldn't do that, sit down, but he had that skill, and he was smart enough not to let that band bury him because they were going to.
Yeah. When we went to Iowa, me and Tone, he had a gig there for, I don't know, a few weeks or a month or something. And I drove up with the piano player's girlfriend. And we stayed, and it was a little bar in some hotel, like a Holiday or something.
Mhm.
And Jimmy Dean walked in.
Oh,
And at that time, he was Jimmy Dean. And at that time, he had his sausages and
sausage,
stuff.
sure.
But he was a singer.
Yeah, maybe that was his beginning.
So I went, "Oh, hi, Jimmy." And he goes, "Hi, how are you?" "Fine. I love your sausages." And I walked away.
Yeah, because I really that was that story I told. I remember it, but I was so young. I couldn't name a Jimmy Dean song now. I don't know what his hits were. And he was a country guy. I knew that. So I don't know. Before he must have had hits in the 50s and maybe 40s.
I remember his songs, but I don't remember them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't.
Sure.
Because he had a decent voice. He was all right. You knew it was
Easy
him.
are. Most people that make it, they're not all, they have something.
Well, today, as far as I'm concerned, and everyone's going to hate me for it, that whatever. I think that a lot of these guy country singers all sound alike.
Yeah. Well, no, they've gotten very formula. You're right.
They do. You can't tell
Sure.
one from the other. You knew it was Jimmy Dean. You knew it was what's his name?
Johnny Cash.
Oh yeah.
Willie Nelson.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the distinct Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Tammy Wynette. They were distinct voices.
That's right. And all the country songs sound alike.
Yeah.
And it's like, can't you come up with something better?
Well, there's that whole culture war. Well, but it's just follow the money. I mean, what would you do if you were entering that market? Because the real purist country, even my oldest son, Tyler, he likes old country. He doesn't like the new country for the reasons you state.
Right.
Because the old country has so much more character and flavor and uniqueness to it, not just formula. But that's a lot of top 40s that way. And big band got that way too. You know, they used to make fun of Glenn Miller and stuff, and In the Mood and things, that those songs all started sounding alike. Then it took like Stan Kent and maybe some of the other people a little more progressive, you
You,
know, the dance bands, you know,
you
I've
know,
been told.
you know who I've been listening to a lot is Buddy Rich.
Oh,
He's got a lot of stuff on YouTube. And there was just, first of all, the charts were written not, they were different. His band always sounded different than the other ones. They had screaming trumpets, and the rhythm, the way he played was different.
well,
You know, da, da, da.
I haven't listened to him enough. I'm ashamed to say that. I mean, I went and saw him in concert once with Michael J at Chicago Fest. We went down there and saw him. Diane I was with Diane, and he was with Marilyn. So it was. But I can't say I was a real student of his. But you know, it just must have been that way, because every time I hear something of his running on YouTube, it's just popping in a different world. Almost insane, you know, almost a ding, 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 wow, 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 you know.
And when you watch him, it's even better.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to work at the Holiday Inn right out of high school in Highland Park,
Mm-hmm.
and he was coming in one night. I worked the
Oh, wow.
11 shift, and of course, I knew who he was. I don't know if the rest of the people at work with me did.
Yeah.
And it was in a very small little banquet room across from where the desk was. So of course I went in, you know, I was there, and he came in and he had on like a sweater and a pair of jeans. And he says, "I'm really sorry. They traveled by bus. Somebody went into our bus and stole our clothes." Okay, good thing the instruments were inside.
Oh, yeah.
They had set
That's
up
right.
already. Yeah.
Wow.
But I was there. That was when that West Side Story thing was really big. It was brand new, you know.
Oh, his
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. And it was really kind of neat because it was a very small room, very small. So you were like right there with him, you know.
Wow.
Right.
Very
Right.
cool.
It really was cool. But I know the kid that married his daughter now, and he plays the band now.
Oh,
They
okay.
go out. And some of the
Is
guys,
he a director, or does he play
they play the charts, I'm pretty
okay.
sure. A couple of the guys that were in the original band are still alive, and they go out and travel with them.
All right.
But the kid's a good player. He
What is he, drums or
drums,
something else? He
drums.
does take the drums.
And he married the daughter, which is great for him. He's always got a job. His name is Greg Potter. And I knew him from years ago. He was a little skinny drummer that played good, and everybody knew who he was in the rock world. And I got a hold of him, and what he did, he met Tone, and he said, "I can get you a Slingerland black and gold set for nothing." And of course, Tone said, "Yeah, you know," because he was the what do you call it for Slingerland at that time?
Sales rep or something, or
the guy that they advertised. I can whatever.
he was being sponsored by Slingerland.
Right. And so he did. He got him all, and Tone used him until I kicked him out, and then I sold him. But other than that,
Remember that gold set?
yeah,
They were beautiful.
and it was very nice of him to do that.
My first good set of, like I told you, that one kit earlier with my brothers, that drum kit. But my first good kit was a Slingerland kit. And my dad, once again, the hustling gypsy, because we worked at Bozo show. He was talking to the drummer there who got some premier drums for being on TV. So he went out to Slingerland, and he didn't get them free, but he got them half off, and he got like 1,000 postcards saying that I would play Slingerland drums free, that they printed up with the thing. But it's funny. The sponsorship was nothing.
I got in touch with him via Messenger, and I said, "I don't know if you remember, because this is a long time ago." He said, "Yeah, I remember you. How are you?" And I thought, really? He knew who I was.
Who's gonna forget you? Are you kidding me? You are one in a million.
And I said, "Dad, you know?" And he went, "Oh, sorry." And I went, "That's okay." And but I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
He's a good drummer. He always was a good drummer. And he played different genres, you know. But he doesn't play like Buddy, but nobody played like Buddy.
Nobody did, yeah.
And it's smart of him not to try. You know,
sure. Oh, yeah.
You know, you can't do that. You know, it's not right. It's not right. So and I said, you married his daughter? And he went, yeah. I said, good for you.
Nice move.
Yeah. You still love her or what?
Love. I love the gig.
Younger. I think he's younger than she is too,
Okay,
but that's okay. It's good for her, I guess.
sure.
You know.
I remember that.
Yes, you do, don't you? Anyway, so now you're working out in where?
Well, this weekend I'll be 10 minutes from my house in Spring Grove at the Grove, it's called. And then Saturday I'm at the VFW in McHenry. And I've been working at VFW for 2 years, almost every week, almost
That's
like a
nice.
steady job. It went down with the COVID last winter, and that was probably okay. But and then the Grove I worked at all the time. So I've developed, maybe it's just that background with Billy and knowing you could milk a place. Because even all the musicians that are working the circuit now, they're like, how the hell do you stay at these jobs? Because all summer I was every Thursday at the Lake House Passaic from Memorial Day to Labor Day, the whole summer. And even now, if the weather is nice enough, they'll call me up. I played last Thursday because it got nice. And then I had Friday at the VFW every Friday. Then I played out at the Tropics, which is on Lake Michigan and in Winthrop Harbor. And I played out there every Sunday for the whole summer. So and then the Saturday was just kind of open to, I worked at Grove Place and they own another club in Antioch. And so my furthest drive was 35 minutes and some of them were 5 minutes from my house.
Can't beat that.
I was filling up my gas tank once a month, I mean, it just, I guess being on the road and riding around that truck of ours and it's, the diesel and it was just, I got a little minivan now and it feels like a Cadillac to me. I feel like I'm in a limousine.
I know, but you got your stuff in there packed in real good. It's good.
Yeah, well, you see it even better now since you saw me. I'm so organized now, it's scary. I've got the same flow going for myself that it's a comfort zone now where everything is just a routine. I've worked through all the crap, got everything set up really easy, and I got a ramp in the back of it now. I'm not lifting the stuff into it even. I got it on wheels and it stacks up at 3 trips in. I'm a machine again. That was hard for me too, leaving the band, because we were like a machine. We didn't think about nothing. We just went and worked.
Yeah, I know.
And then all of a sudden I started this act of mine, and I was thinking every major song, set up, drive, load in, everything was just like, how am I doing this? So it was quite a learning curve.
Well, you do good. I'm so happy you're working because so many people aren't yet.
Well, I feel fortunate, I feel a little smart, I feel a little clever about it. And
they've opened up some places here now, but of course, half the people here aren't vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Jazzy.
There's Jazzy. Say hi, Uncle Gare. You saved my life and sent me to my new mother. From the crazy lady that rubbed her tits up on you.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, that was a weird couple, but my kind of people.
Well, we thank you and the other guys for stopping and doing that, because look at her, isn't she cute?
There it is.
Oh, little girl.
What a life she's having.
Yeah. Poor Ronnie. She'll just plop on the floor and not move, and Ronnie goes, she's not moving. Kick her. Push her, Whatever. Well, what else do you, I know I had another picture here that you have to look at. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Oh, first of all, let me do this one. Can you see it?
Remax. There you got your sponsor. There's your sponsor.
Sponsor.
Right. Hey, that's my house he sold.
Nick Pontarelli. And the number is right on the bottom, 630-220-6421 to Remax. Nick Pontarelli. And if you don't like his houses, go listen to him sing. You might like that.
Hey, that's right.
So Nick, now I got your thing up because you never sent it to me, you old bag. And this is my sponsor for this particular show, possibly next show too. We'll see. If you want to be sponsored, let me know. I'll do a sponsored thing. Just send me some stuff and we'll do it. And at least for the 3 people that are going to see this.
I know my wife won't watch. Yeah, I'll tell you a little secret. It's happening just today, before I got on. I just, Adam and Katie just had their 3rd child.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's all just happening now. So
Oh, wait, I wanted to do this.
we're waiting to hear from them still. So
Okay, wait a minute.
I can only say that because I know nobody will be watching. They say, kill me if it went out first.
Okay, here's your other little grandchild.
His first gig.
Yeah.
That's a guitar. That's a guitar in there.
When I saw that, I cracked up. I said, "God, really good." He's a cutie.
They got cute kids.
Who's he look like? Mother.
Yeah, they both look like her so far, basically.
Yeah.
Especially the girl too.
Really?
Yeah.
And this one looked like you when he was born.
Oh, he reminded me of Tyler too a little bit. He had the chunky, real chunky legs, and I had that too.
Yeah.
So.
And now what's chunky?
Oh, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, really. No kidding. My other arm under here, you know.
Yeah, that's all right. We're here. That's the important thing.
I know.
I know.
We are here.
And our minds. Your mind is great, and so far I'm doing okay. You know, I'm have slow things, but I can still function. And I think back to the memorizing the words. When they tell people aging to do crossword puzzles or certain things, I think music fulfills that same brain exercise. You know, that's good for you.
It's funny when I sing, even when I used to sing all the time, I still can't remember some of the, I get, what's the next stanza, you know?
Sure.
Whatever.
And I bet you sometimes if you don't even think about it, it'll come out though. You ever notice that? You start, because that's the worst thing. Oh, what was this bridge? I messed it up last time. It's coming. The bridge is coming. Now it's gone.
It's funny because I repeated, I forget what song it was. I repeated a verse. And somebody said on this Zoom thing, you know, and somebody says, it was nice and you repeated the verse too. And I'm thinking, of course, someone would say something, you know. Oh, I said, yeah, okay, fine, whatever.
That's my version, the way I do it. That's what makes me unique doing that song.
Yeah, I mean, I can make up words if I forget them.
Oh, yeah. No, I still have those moments. But I'm pretty good because I'm always amazed. I'll sing the wrong verse sometimes in the first instead of the second, but then I'll go ahead and sing the wrong one in the second place, you know. I'll reverse it. And so you still got some memory left when you're doing that.
Whatever. You know, at my age, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
I am what I am, you know.
Well, I'm headed into that phase right now. I mean, I've never gotten so comfortable working, you know, and it's just it's very comforting, and I don't have to work all the time. I like to work, and you know, a little extra money never hurts anything, but I don't really have to work per se to exist. And it's good just to, like, I see a job. I mean, I won't work a job that's till 12 o'clock or something if it's too far away, because I don't want to. I don't have to. Most of the things I'm working are 6 to 9, 5 to 8, on a Sunday 1 to 4. I mean, it's just heaven.
Well, I'm getting the itch to work again. See, that's
why you're going to.
I am. One of these days I will. And it's my passion, really. It always has been. Unfortunately, I married the wrong guys half the time. Or something, you know, something in real life comes up.
Yeah, well, I
had to work when I was young, you know, I couldn't stop because I was alone, or, you know, to pay the rent. You have to do that.
Well, I know it. I mean, that's back to the band in the 40 years. It was amazing. We somehow made it through all those different little things personally, each of us, business changing. We were very lucky and fortunate. We always weren't smart. We were lucky so many times. And when the showrooms died and disco came in, that pushed us into the corporate market. We ended up making more money.
Right.
You know, it was like it worked better for us sometimes when other bands just went out of business and went, oh, the DJs, we can't compete with this. And then they got day jobs and they were done, you know.
I know.
So it was weird. So you'll find your spot, you know, and I think you would find a spot down there, you'd be a regular somewhere.
I'm submitting into this place, but I'm going to call it a night.
Run a jam session, you know.
Night. Well, yeah. A night in Vegas is what I'm going to call it.
Yeah,
And my thing is I let everybody come sit in anyway.
sure.
I invite everybody, all the singers, if they're good, the
Well,
singers, the players, I make it a show where
a-
they don't have to sit and listen to me all night.
and it's really some places it is the business. There's I got some musician friends up that live up in that Galena territory, and the places don't really have the budget, and the sitting in is their crowds. I mean, half the place will be the crowd, and they're pretty good, and they've all developed their little act of sitting in. They're pretty good at it. Like you're saying, if somebody's running it well, it can be, and it's great for the owner. They get free
Oh, great for the
entertainment,
owner
and
for
then
sure.
they don't always drink a lot, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they eat still and spend some money, so it can be
Well,
good.
it's called piano bar now. That's what they
Yeah.
call it, piano bar.
Okay.
They open it up and the singers come, and the musician or musicians, usually a piano player, will get paid and they come up and sing, and that's fine. I'm not putting it down, but I never liked working with just a piano to begin with. I'm not good enough, to be very honest with you, to work with just
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I think it sounds like a preference.
no, it's true. I need that rhythm. See,
Well,
eh,
sure,
I feel
it
that rhythm,
helps.
and just the piano, I just kind of fall down because it's not, I don't
No,
feel it,
not inspired by it.
no, it's feeling for me. It's a
Yeah.
feeling. And I never really did it then. I remember going up and down Waukegan Road on a Sunday. They used to have these piano bar things, the sit-in deals.
Mhm.
And there was one gal, I can't remember her name. She was older, and she'd go to all the jam sessions. And she sang Cherokee. That was her song. But the bands would take it, da, 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 and she go, you couldn't even get the words out,
Well, I can tell you a ton of the circus and acrobatic act use that, and jugglers. Da 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 da. Hey, da 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 da. That Cherokee was a big show tune for
Yeah.
the novelty acts.
But they took it so fast for her. She wasn't a horrible singer,
Yeah.
she wasn't awful, and she go every song, every time she said it, she did that song. I wanted to tell her, I was too young at the time. If it had been me now, I would say to her, if I were you, I might get another song.
Or slow that one down, right?
Yeah, really. Because this one you beat to fucking death, but that again is experience too. You know how that is.
Well,
When to
yeah.
quit and when not to quit, and when to do and when not to do. That's simple.
Hey, I've never been a big sitter-inner. That's another whole art form in itself,
Yeah,
that you have to be comfortable with.
I
And
know.
I've never, I've had a few times, but it's just not, I don't go out to do that. Some people go out because they know they're going to sit in somewhere. Capetta was that way. Yeah, we would always go out for a drink after somewhere where he knew a band, and he'd walk in with his sax case.
Right.
He knew he was going up. I was envious of that, but I've never found. I would play the drums, I'd be okay, but blah blah blah.
I've been sitting in. He's nice enough to ask me. I didn't ask with this Terry, who
Yeah, no, he's good.
I went to high school. He's great.
Yeah,
He's got
good
accolades
band.
up his ass. There was a couple of women in this bar who fell in love with him. Not love, but they loved what he was doing.
Sure.
And she said, "How old is he?" Because I said we went to high school. I said, "He's as old as I am, 77." And she went, "Really? He's really got a lot of breath."
Yeah.
Because he does, man. He really wails, that fucker. I'm
Cool.
telling you. And he sings. He's very good at what he does.
And he's very authentic. That's it. When I watched him, the few exposures I had that you posted, I just it was a real thing. Like some people, I'm going to do a blues song, then they try to be bluesy. He just is a blues guy. That's what he does. It seems to
That's
me.
exactly what he does.
that's him.
It sounded terrible because it was my phone,
Yeah, no, but I take that into what I'm saying. When it sounds good on that makes, I know it's going to be better live.
We never knew him. See,
Yeah,
he wasn't a musical person at that time. His father was the musical director or ran the band at the Shea Parade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, wow. That's what I said.
That was the premier place, right?
At the time. So he ended up taking up whatever, and he ended up playing. And now we go see him whenever he's there, and we're gonna have dinner, and we're classmates,
Yeah.
and
Cool.
we love him. We follow. We're gonna go see him at a park or something in November, and we're going over to Englewood in December.
Oh
And-
boy.
oh boy,
For revenge, get even, or just
yeah. I know where the play. Remember that little Dearborn Street up there with the little coffee things and whatever. They think
Not
it's
sure.
historic. It's not. But they have a blues club there. He's gonna be there.
Ah, okay.
So we're gonna stay with my girlfriend, Linda from Chicago, and see some of the people and go see him, and it'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Take the dog, take my roommate, and off we go into the wild blue Englewood.
Road trip.
Yeah, it'll be fun though. It'll be good. Because I think after the gig we can schmooze.
Uh-huh.
There isn't anything open but Applebee's there, but we could go there for something to eat or something, whatever. What do you here eat? Is that what you heard? She goes, yes. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think it was fun, and I'll be looking forward to when I can get down there to Florida. I got to go through my second winter here coming up. It's getting fall now, so I made it through last year. I guess I'll make it through this year.
You might get a couple things down here. You never.
Well, I got one. I'm gonna have to cancel. I just haven't put together, and I've just been a little non-enthusiastic about doing it. My whole plan got disrupted when I was going to buy a house down there and the COVID, and then I kind of let it go. So I haven't hustled anything up. Everything gets booked at least a year in advance with communities and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm really behind, and I'll be behind already for next year because I'm not hustling. So, we'll just see. I'm just gonna, when I get down there, then it'll be a different story. I'll be around.
So you had a new grandson, right?
Well, I have a granddaughter and a grandson, and then this third one that's just today. I don't know the sex yet.
You don't know the sex yet?
No, we're waiting to hear from them.
Stop it.
It's a Shih Tzu, I think.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play off. I want to
Okay.
tell everybody it's the new Odyssey guy at YouTube.
All right.
And I'm going to try and select.
Here's the wife. You want to say hi, honey?
Are they still on stuff?
We're just signing off now.
No.
Wait. Put her on.
She won't go. I'm teasing her.
What? Put her on, God damn it.
She's up already. She's not getting on.
All right. Fuck you. Okay, let's see. Okay, the new Odyssey guy, subscribe to him. And we're gonna go off with you playing, I think. Let's see. Yes, I am. And it's been a pleasure, Gare. A fucking pleasure.
Me too. It was fun.
And I miss you. And say hi to Sandy.
Will do.
I muted it. All right, stop. Okay. Tell her I'm sorry I didn't see her, but I get it.
Yeah, she wasn't prepared for camera.
I know. Well, neither was I until later on this afternoon. And we'll talk, and congratulations on your new grandperson.
Okay.
He doesn't know the sex on it yet. He just had his grandchild, a third one. Maybe it's bisexual.
She Yelly don't say anything. She doesn't know nobody's going to see this.
Oh, well. I love you to death.
Love you too, Marn.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
All right.
Adios.
Bye.